and you're going to be 74 fucking years old, and you're going to see $3.99. Grandma container, and you're going to be like, oh, Ethel, I never canceled my fucking pay to win.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the podcast. We're so dedicated to talking about all the poggers things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I am one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I know that human beings and fish can coexist peacefully.
They can.
Yeah.
As long as we don't skirt into each other's territory.
Too late.
Yeah.
That's a George Bush
ism.
Michael Scott ism. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I believe I can't do it. I don't know why I went Trump. I can't do any of the Bushes, but like I missed like so many of the funny Bush memes I'm like just recently finding. Like it wasn't that long ago that I saw the Now Watch This Drive clip for the first time, and I'm like, where has this been? Like that's top 10 internet clips of all time. Like in retrospect, that's hilarious. I'm sure there were like geopolitical whatever, but in retrospect, that's hilarious. And yeah,
so,
they were big like campaign debacles, or whatever. And now it's like, holy fuck, dude!
Now watch
like
this
that was the worst. That was the worst we had.
Yeah. But
it's a good thing things have gotten dramatically
better and more professional. Yeah,
like Twitter is about my
Christ.
There's almost no chance you saw the video yet because I released it yesterday.
Yeah,
you were
and it's
streaming.
2 hours. Yeah, I haven't been able to see it yet. No, I saw your tweet about clickbait though, so I was like, oh shoot.
There's a contingent of the most degenerates
yeah
ever, which I should have known. That was stepping foot back in the dipping my toe back in the Tarkov pond.
Yeah.
That I would, get that kind of crowd.
Yeah.
But man, are they mad that they're mad about the title of my video, and they're mad about one of my tweets.
Oh yeah, where you tagged
Tarkov,
some Tarkov people,
Landmark, and One Peg.
Okay, well first, the Escape from Tarkov Murders, the Chandler Halderson story. God, what a clickbaity title, bro.
So here's the thing. Folks, so yeah, the title of the video is The Escape from Tarkov Murders.
Yeah. The
Chandler Halderson story. Now, according to a vocal, I have to assume minority. I mean, yeah, it's on my.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. It's not. It makes up 1% of the comments.
Yes.
On the video, 0% of the feedback in my Twitch chat, and 50% of the comments on Twitter.
Yeah, that's dude. Yep.
Which is, it gives you the false sense of like proportion, which I actually want to talk about after.
Yeah.
But I almost kind of feel like there's a couple of details that in order to talk about, like maybe I don't want to like spoil it for you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not that it's like this is an M. Night Shyamalan here, but like, it's up to you whether or not like you want me to save any details or whether I can give you like a bullet point summary of the relevant details.
Yeah, I mean, you've given me through us talking about it before. You know what I mean? I feel like I have a high level understanding of what's going on.
So I guess if anyone's listening to this podcast, when it comes out or whatever, and you haven't seen the video and you don't want spoilers, then maybe pause this, watch the video, come back, listen to us talk about the reaction.
Yeah.
But so like I said, the video is called Escape from Tarkov Murders. The people that are very, very butthurt, vocally butthurt, they think that there's one and only one interpretation of that title.
Oh,
and their literalist interpretation of the title is Escape from Tarkov is directly the cause. It drove him as if subliminally
to
kill somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only interpretation that they think is the only way to interpret it. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, also, I tweeted, and of course, like a tweet, like there's a difference between a tweet and like the thumbnail or the title.
For sure.
So what I tweeted was, and it was like kind of tongue in cheek.
Yeah.
Now I haven't talked to Landmark about it, but I talked to One Peg. Really, One Peg's like 95% of it, and Landmark's kind of 5% of it.
Yeah.
But I talk about him in the video, and it's kind of the kind of thing that he would be like, oh, shit, that's crazy, that's weird, and that would be like probably the extent of his reaction. But still, you would think you would want to know what I'm about to get to. But so what I tweeted was, are you curious how Tarkov, One Peg, and Landmark are connected to a 2021 double murder case? Don't miss my latest video, the true crime documentary about the story of Chandler Halderson and its eerie connection to Escape from Tarkov, premiering tonight. Now, based on these butthurt weirdos, they're convinced. Like someone even said, "Bro, BSG needs to take your video down." Landmark, like this is. Someone said this is borderline libel slander. As if the only way to interpret what I said, the only way, there's one singular interpretation. And of course, it's the least generous, most batshit crazy interpretation.
Yeah.
As if I typed One Peg and Landmark
killed someone,
are directly implicated in a double murder. The police need to look into this immediately. That's the only way they interpret it.
Yeah.
But so what I said was, the game and these two content creators are connected to a case.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the video was called Escape from Tarkov Murders. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I'm assuming you've seen some true crime something.
Yeah.
So imagine there was a case where like there was a quirky, really weird, it's like serial killer. Okay.
Yeah.
Now imagine that he had a bunch of like interviews with cops.
Yeah.
You know, or he was caught on camera talking to people. There's recordings of phone calls, and everywhere in there, he always talks about how I'm with my Rubik's Cube. I've been playing my Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Just sitting here with my Rubik's Cube. What were you doing on the night of the 17th? I was playing my Rubik's Cube over and over and over again. If I made a video about the guy and I called him the Rubik's Cube killer, nobody would think that I was implying.
Yeah. If every time this guy was playing Escape from Tarkov, he was watching a Mr. Beast video, there would already be 73 of these documentaries called like the Mr. Beast double murder. You know what I mean? Like it by a bunch of different content creators that follow his content more closely. You know what I mean? It's like it.
So people, the only connection that they can make, because they can't, none of them watched it. And how I know is, it was premiering 6 hours later, and people were already saying this is disingenuous, misleading clickbait.
Of course.
Which you couldn't possibly have that opinion. Well, there's a couple ways. You couldn't fairly,
you couldn't justify that opinion.
Justify that opinion because A, you haven't seen the content, and the definition of clickbait is it's something that is like a sensationalist thing that is misleading or deceptive in order to basically trick you into watching something that is not about what you are advertising.
Yeah.
That to me is clickbait.
Clickbait is not, I don't
marketing.
Like this video.
No, well, these people, some people, see the people that are arguing, there's two types of people. There are the people that are like, this is terrible. You should be put in jail for this terrible, dishonest, disingenuous clickbait. Those people didn't watch it, so they can't know if it's accurate or not.
Correct.
And then there's like more reasonable people that are like, well, bro, it is clickbait, but like just embrace it. Like it's okay. Like
some people are like, it's clickbait, but who cares?
And then to me, those people are using the wrong word. They need to realize that what they think of when they think clickbait is not what the other people who I'm arguing
it's so
against.
Funny. We're gonna have this same conversation again later. Just put a pin in this type of thing. But and you probably already know why. But I know exactly what you mean. Clickbait has now taken a colloquial meaning and like a real meaning, and those are different. but they're still used interchangeably. And when people start arguing about a topic and like the people arguing are using the different words, it's such a spiral of destruction, right? Because you're never going to come to an agreeable end of the argument because you're not arguing from the same definition of words. So
yeah, so basically, I'm trying to remember the first point that I was going to wrap up. It was the idea that fuck me in my brain. Stick it in the brain because I can't. No, it's not your fault.
Stick it in the brain.
I'm ADHD. What the fuck was I literally just talking about? What were we talking about? The definition of clickbait?
Yeah. People are arguing. Some people were saying it's clickbait, but they don't care. Yeah, okay.
So it's I forgot again. Oh my god. How is it possible? How is it possible that this could happen? I don't understand.
He's cooked.
Dude, I've lost it.
Cooked.
I'm straight up cooked. Fuck.
Some people are stinky and they think you're clickbait. Some people say it's clickbait, but they're like, who cares, man?
Oh, okay. That video games cause violence.
Okay.
That is basically people see the title, right? The Escape from Tarkov Murders, and they think
yes.
They think that that I must be implying this taboo thing that honestly we haven't talked about since 2004. Like, when was the last time you heard like moms raging against GTA 4? Like that actually just really isn't a thing. We're kind of past that, I feel, as a society.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, that's so. But again, even if you think that that's what I'm saying, which I literally in the video say that's absolutely not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a 5-minute segment where I say, it's at the end after you know all the facts.
Yeah.
And I say, I call this video The Escape from Tarkov Murders. And then I lay out the facts.
Yeah.
All it would take is for you to say, if this is what he is saying, I'm going to be angry, and possibly rightfully so.
Yeah.
Except all you need to do is watch it.
Yeah.
And then you would discover that that's not what I'm saying. So the fact that you think that someone might get that impression without watching, it's not my fault.
That's the fascinating thing it's like the people that are mad about clickbait are people that they themselves pride themselves on, like, I wasn't got by your clickbait. Haha, you suck. But don't get other people on the clickbait. But other people who would get got by the clickbait would get got by watching the video in which the information that shows it's not clickbait would be there. So you're the only one. The people you're trying to save would watch the video and then come to a better conclusion. You're like, I didn't get got, but you didn't watch it's like, it's so weirdly meta because watching the video. And what's funny is that when you said that, it's like, you don't have to watch the video. Like, if you see a title and a thumbnail, you don't have to watch a video if you don't want it. But you have to watch a video to be able to have an adult's opinion about the content of the video. So that's the thing. It's like, either watch the video and come to a more complete realization, or don't watch the video, but then also don't get butthurt on behalf of other people.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch it. It's 2 hours, it's 8 hours, it's 30 minutes. You don't feel like watching it, whatever. That's fine. But that's the line. Yeah. It's like, if you don't want to watch it, then don't get butthurt on behalf of other people.
And these people, here's the thing, is that they're not actually upset.
No.
It was just like,
well, they're chronically upset. They're not upset with you.
Well, they're chronically complaining and acting upset. They have to be outraged, but they don't really care. It's the same thing with some of the Tarkov stuff and some of the stuff we'll talk about later with Pay to Win.
Yeah.
The people don't actually care. Like, one of the guys that was basically trying to be like, you've set us back in terms of like the video games don't cause violence thing,
that's
bro.
Funny. That's funny.
And then in his own Twitter replies to other people just the other day was saying maybe another Holocaust wouldn't be a bad thing. So like, bro, you can't come to me and act like this virtue signaling bullshit and be the biggest degen ever. All of his Twitter replies were all like misogynistic shit to OnlyFans girls, and it's just the most degen nonsense, defending Dr. Disrespect, like all the worst things.
Zoinks.
Okay? And it's like, oh, this is the guy who calls my video clickbait and says that
you set the industry back.
Someone said that it was I forget exactly the quote, but basically that it was lazy, cheap, soulless excuse for investigative journalism.
Dude, if there's one thing we know about Veritas is that he doesn't put any work into his videos. They're lazy as hell.
Dude, 80% of the comments on the video are, I've seen a dozen videos on this topic, and you brought so much more to the table than all these other people did. This is the definitive video, just like I wanted to do with the Billy Mitchell video. Yes. Carl Jobst was the god of Billy Mitchell videos, and he tweeted and said, this is the definitive Billy Mitchell video, Veritas's video.
Yeah.
That's what I go for. I try to be comprehensive. I'm not just rehashing shit.
Yeah.
You know, and then a bunch of people were saying that I was doing it to capitalize on the wipe hype. I started in January, and I finished 2 days ago, and I've been working on it almost nonstop ever since. It's a coincidence that probably might cuck me in the algorithm. It might help, but it's a coincidence.
Yeah.
Like I searched Tarkov yesterday when both of our videos came out, and your video was in like the top 3 results and mine wasn't. So really, you're the dishonest. You're the dishonest.
Wipe hype, you know, cloud chaser.
But so let me give you a couple more details that I think, because I want your honest opinion on the clickbait thing, and I think I'll give you context.
Yeah, okay.
So there's a guy killed his parents. The impetus for almost all of it was he was lying to them about everything for over a year.
Okay.
Both of his parents and his girlfriend. He had a job was fake, internship was fake. A job that he had lined up at SpaceX that he was going to be starting in a few months was fake. He had dropped out of college. He had failed out of college. He was about to get a degree and a certificate from them. That was all fake. He was sending text messages and emails to and from himself and his dad from fake accounts, 4 different email accounts from all these people that were fake. He had a phone call with a voice changer to his dad who wrote in an email to his mom that was like, the guy sounded like Chandler. Like, which is like kind of the hint where I think that was them being like, they were already onto him.
Yeah.
But didn't really quite want to believe it, okay?
That's crazy.
So all of those lies. Now, there's one other piece of information that I'll say now, and then I'll kind of caveat correct later.
Okay.
But he killed his parents and basically like chopped them up and scattered their remains throughout Wisconsin. Jesus. And though it's the worst possible thing ever.
Yeah.
I literally cry every time I watch it again, and I edited the shit, and it's still such an incredibly sad story. But they found the dad's torso first. And then later on, they found 1.5 legs of the mom, and that's all they ever found. Okay.
Jeez.
Where they found it was like his common swimming spot, a little secret riverside swimming spot that his girlfriend, after he was arrested, she came to the cops and was like, hey, I've got a screenshot of a Snapchat. Because Snapchat, you have your location if you set it to share. And she's like, I sent him a Snapchat of me at home with the dog. And he opened the Snapchat, and I saw his location was over by the swimming spot when he was supposed to be like driving to go get like CBD or something. And she's like, I thought that was weird. And then literally there is where the remains were. Okay.
That is crazy.
So 2 of the more prominent like documentaries, okay, on this subject, one of them was called The Snapchat Clue.
Oh, yeah.
And another one was called like The SpaceX Killer or something.
Yeah, dude.
He had like 100 lies, and one of them was, I got a job lined up at SpaceX.
Yeah. Dude, you said that he got a fake job lined up at SpaceX, and I literally thought the SpaceX Killer in my brain.
No one complained about those being clickbait when, first of all, the SpaceX stuff had nothing to do with the murder, because he had faked a fall down the stairs with like life-altering, debilitating, like severed not severed, but like damaged, nerve damage, spine. He wore a neck brace. It was all fake.
Yeah.
All of it was fake. But that was basically his like way of getting out of the
SpaceX,
the other lie.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I can't go, so then I'm not gonna be able to get the job, and oh, woe is me kind of thing. So SpaceX was such like a non-thing.
Yeah.
And yet the SpaceX killer, like, and I wouldn't even call that clickbait. I would just call that not creative titling. Now, the Snapchat clue, that video literally said that they took that screenshot and went and found her remains.
Yeah.
Except they found her remains 2 days before she gave them the screenshot. So it literally didn't matter.
Oh, interesting.
But they all reported it wrong and they all got it wrong.
Yeah.
I don't think no one's pointed out what actually happened, which was a woman called days before who lived by the river, because there's like a little dead end road, and she was like, I saw a dude walking around in the road, like being really creepy and awkward. And then they went there and they had heard from someone else about a swimming spot, and they were like, this must be it. And they go back through a trail, and boom, right next to the trees is a foot. Like, so they not only did they get it wrong, but they also called it the Snapchat clue, which it had value in the trial, because to win a trial, you need to tell a story and make a case for the jury.
Yeah.
So imagine if I said, here's cell tower records that put him in this location, and it's like one of those half circle things that shows. That's not as compelling as an avatar. His little picture that says hubby.
100%. Yeah.
So it had value in, like, I don't want to diminish the value in that. It put him there, exactly there, in like visually, in like a put a bow on it kind of way. But there was so much evidence that he was there that it wouldn't have mattered.
Yes. Yeah.
So I won't diminish it, but the misinformation that all of these and the Snapchat clue was done by like CBS.
Oh, that's funny.
Like they had like drone footage that they commissioned, and they interviewed all the cops and everything. Like it was high budget shit, and they got like a bunch of details wrong.
Yeah.
But nobody was butthurt about the clickbait. Okay. Yeah. Now let me explain to you the connection to Tarkov.
Yeah.
It starts off, I think, with like Arma 3. Okay. But he basically meets a dude, this guy, Andrew Smith.
Okay.
They end up playing Tarkov together.
Okay.
For like over a year. They become best friends. He lives in Kansas. Chandler lives in Wisconsin. At the time when they first met, he was overseas in Germany. He was in the army, so he's like kind of deployed, just chilling, at the base or whatever. Got home. So they were best friends, and they played Tarkov every day.
Yep.
This was mentioned in the trial. The word escape from Tarkov was mentioned multiple times in the trial.
Yep.
That was what the best friends did together every day, was play Tarkov. Yeah. He made a trip when he was on vacation to come visit Chandler and brought him a gift. He brought him an SKS, a Tapco SKS, with like an MRS, basically, a cheap Chinese MRS dot.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was his favorite gun in Tarkov. So his best friend that he played Tarkov with, this kid was a fucking Timmy, so he was like an SKS main.
Yeah.
Andrew Smith had the Tapco SKS, shot 20 rounds from it, didn't really like it all that much. He traveled up from Kansas and gifted his best Tarkov friend's gun that he would appreciate. Okay?
Yep.
There was like, over the course of a week where all this went down, there was like, I think about 8-ish periods of time, multiple hour periods of time, where he had like unaccounted for time.
Uh-huh.
That was when he was, I was dumping the remains over here. I was chopping up the body parts here. And every single time, it was like 7 or 6 out of 8 of those things, his alibi was, I was at home shitting the day away playing Escape from Tarkov.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Part of why he wanted, like, we don't know this, but I think it's kind of not a crazy guess, But he basically wanted to stay at home and play video games. He didn't want any responsibility, didn't want to do chores, didn't want to get a job. He just wanted to sit at home and have no responsibility and dick around playing Tarkov. That was his favorite game. The day he was arrested, his internet search history.
Oh, yeah.
He watched a landmark video for like 15 minutes. He then watched a one peg video on Scav Karma, where the intro to the video is a Scav with an SKS walking around with his voiceover just over the top of it.
Mm-hmm.
With an SKS. And then he's been playing games, Googling stuff, YouTube, whatever. He stops doing that. And immediately, it was like 11 minutes after he watches One Peg's video with the murder weapon, he Googles body found Wisconsin, dismembered body found Wisconsin, woman's body found Wisconsin River 2021, like the most incriminating, disgusting searches, okay? And then the extortionist quest wiki on the Tarkov wiki tutorial, how to do the extortionist. Where does the messenger hide the item? Tarkov. And then Bart and Krista. And then this, like, it was like Wisconsin versus Peter T. Capuzza. It's a court case where a guy killed a family member and dismembered their bodies and hid them in the Wisconsin River.
Jesus.
And then like back to Tarkov, basically. No, actually, after that, then he went and like basically, so kind of what I was arguing was that at that point, the day before, he reported them missing. So he had hid the body parts. He had cleaned up the blood from the house. He had like done everything.
Yeah.
Went to the police station and said, officially reporting them missing. The next day he went home and he's probably like, the pressure's on now.
Yeah.
Because now it's a police investigation. Now it's not just people asking where the mom is.
Yep.
He's playing Tarkov, probably like, I need to get my mind off of this. I need to get my mind off of this. All of it, watching YouTube videos, sees the murder weapon, and he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Gets curious, starts Googling the news to see if they found anything.
Yep.
Looks out the window. The squad cars are pulling up. He calls the cop, the detective, and he's like, have you guys found anything? What's going on? There's cop cars outside, like super nervous. He goes talking to the neighbors, asking about security camera footage. They take him in that afternoon for questioning, and then they arrest him after 90 minutes. And that was literally the last thing he did was basically play Tarkov, search the wiki, watch YouTube videos, walk around his neighborhood, and then get arrested. And he's never been free since.
Jeez.
What's more appropriate, SpaceX?
Yeah.
Or Tarkov? He made a reference to he had a cut on his toe, and he told the cop that he went and got his IFAC.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's like, I mean, I love those details. Those are fascinating details. But yeah, it's such a like.
Is it crazy to call it the escape from Tarkov?
It's such a non-issue. It's such a non-issue, dude. Especially in the true crime world, like that's the most like.
Everything is branded.
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
the most like mild title in the true crime world. Like it's how do you make this case? How do I get it out in front of people? What did he, you know what I mean? He ran into freaking Bernie Sanders once on the street, the Bernie Sanders killers. Like, you know what I mean? It's just, this is how that's done. That's a ton of relevance to Tarkov. It's his alibi. It's how he met the guy. It's how the literal murder, because he killed his parents with that SKS, right?
Yeah, he shot his dad in the back twice, and then
so
his
it's
mom,
like literally
essentially,
he wouldn't have, not saying he wouldn't have killed his parents, but he wouldn't have had that weapon if not for Escape from Tarkov and meeting that friend. He might not have been as good of friends with that one guy if they never found Tarkov. Like that's
and that's the connection is that,
and here
he probably would have killed them. It would have just been different place, different time, different circumstances. Yes. But the history that was made there was molded by Tarkov.
Yes, for sure.
So
for sure.
Fuck off with the clickbait.
But once again, anybody with more than 2 brain cells that's watched the video would also come to that conclusion, right? Like that has all the information you just gave me would come to that conclusion. It's just the Tarkov. The mad Tarkov people are a special breed of like hurt puppies under a bridge, and anytime you use the word Tarkov, they feel like you kick them and they just get weird. You know what I mean? It's so weird.
I can't believe you're so desperate. Your viewership is so low. You have to stoop to the level of exploiting a dead person's story to clickbait and make money. Wow, really? That's your interpretation?
Yeah. It's wild. It's wild.
Now, no, the last thing I wanted to mention, because it was kind of a crazy thing that I discovered afterwards, and I didn't really have enough time to toss it in the video, but I thought it was like, I'm like proud of a lot of these little connections, because no one, there's been a dozen videos on this, okay?
Yeah.
And I think I like counted of the 12 that I saw, 8 of them didn't even mention Andrew Smith. They didn't even mention where he got the gun from.
Yeah, that's wild.
And 0 mentioned Tarkov once.
Yeah.
It was never mentioned, which like I can kind of like understand, but at the same time, like, so many people's opinions was, I've seen everything on this case.
Yeah.
And the only thing is that he was a player of the game, and it had nothing else to do with it. You're reaching, bro. And it's like, maybe I brought some new shit to the table, douchebag.
Yeah. No, for sure.
But this one element, like I said, I'm like getting a little bit more excited to do maybe some more true crime stuff in the future, because I don't know if I've got a knack for it or if I got lucky or whatever, but there were a lot of connections that like I'm going to start posting on like the Chandler Halderson subreddit, because I think a lot of people are going to be like, no way, because true crime people are into true crime.
They love it for sure.
There's an entire subreddit about this that people are still to this day talking about, like, what do you think he's doing in prison? What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Speculating and all this stuff. Andrew Smith, aka they called him Smitty, not Smitty Stone. A bunch of people are like, Smitty Stone. He gave Chandler 480 rounds. Okay. 480 rounds, because he bought the SKS with a 500 round box.
Yeah.
He put 20 rounds, a 20 round SKS mag through it. Was like, I don't really like the gun. It sat in a safe until he gave it to Chandler. So he was adamant in court. He's like, 480 rounds. He interrupted the lawyer because he's like, you got him about 400. He's like, exactly 480 rounds.
Yeah.
There's pictures of, it's like on cardboard, all of the bullets, because he gave him a little like green ammo can with the ammo, and it was like 79, 119, 37, like all the bullets. Okay. You add them all up, and it accounted for 400 and it was 418 rounds.
Okay.
So there's 418 rounds in the container.
Mm-hmm.
What they found hidden behind, you know, like the pink insulation?
Oh, yeah.
In the basement, he stuffed back there a couple of like vape pens and 3 SKS magazines.
Chandler did?
Yep. One with 20 rounds, another with 20 rounds, and one with 15 rounds. The dad had 2 bullet holes in his back, and they found the mom's legs. Probably he shot 5 bullets.
Yeah.
So 418 plus 40. Wait, what did I say? Plus 20 plus 20 plus 15.
55.
That leaves
55.
Wait, did I get this wrong?
418 plus 55.
Yeah. Okay, so whatever it was, I might have fucked up the math. But basically, that accounted for 478 rounds.
Oh, okay.
Total.
When you add up like what they found in the dad,
all
what
the
they found
bullets,
on the wall,
everything,
what they found in the box.
2 in the wall. We're already accounting for that in the -5 from the magazine.
Okay.
There's a picture with a stray 7.62x39 bullet sitting on his end table. That's 479. And it fucking bugged me for a long time. I was like, maybe he put one like in the chamber. I'm like, but this kid's an idiot. There's no way he manually loaded into the chamber and then or like racked around and then topped the mag on. I'm like, there's no chance. So it bothered me. And then I was watching his brother's testimony. And I was like, fuck. His brother had some serious health problems. He got diagnosed with diabetes like really late. And it like it kind of fucked him up for a bit. And it was a little bit scary. part of the reason why he faked his like injury, because he was like, oh shit, that's like a good idea, because everybody's taking care of him, you know, for all this shit, and they're doting on him, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
And the lawyer asks him in court, did your brother give you a gift when that happened? And he said, yeah. She's like, what was that? She's like, it was like a bullet, like a rifle bullet that had written on it, get well soon. And I'm like, boom, there's the last round, baby.
That's crazy.
Like, oh, just the nice little bow, just tie it up. Like, oh my God.
That's wild.
The pieces just fit so nicely in this case in a way that's like you don't get in like any other case.
Yep.
But yeah, overall, I'm extremely proud of the video.
Yeah.
It stands for itself. Anybody that's mad or thinks it's clickbait or thinks it's dishonest, you didn't watch it or you're insane. So I just kind of don't care.
Yeah.
The overwhelming majority of the feedback I've gotten is that was a beautiful, well-researched, like handled a difficult topic with like grace, with respect. And also it was like multiple people were like, dude, I'm in tears, like multiple times throughout the story.
I mean, it's heavy. It's heavy.
So
yeah, dude, I've heard nothing but good things. I've had a bunch of people come in from chat and be like, dude, have you watched it? And I was like, oh no, I haven't had time, but I need to. I saw it. It ended up being just over 2 hours.
2 hours and like 2 minutes
max
or whatever.
45 minutes, I think was.
Max 45. There's no reason why it should be longer than 45 minutes.
Bro, we need.
And what I'm happy about is that the fucking analytics line, it was like average out to 12 hours, and then
that's what we like to see.
So it's at about 60,000 views right now in a day.
That's what we like to see. Yeah.
So I'm like crossing my fingers because, man, I don't know that I can handle like another fizzle.
Yeah. Boy, do I feel that. Yeah. No, that's dope. That's dope. We need Veritas merch that's like 45 minutes max, or like it's almost done. You know what I mean?
No, I am gonna have merch though, and this will make sense to people who watch it, and then you'll giggle when you see it.
Okay.
But I'm now considering getting back into merch just so like every video I come out with, I can have like one or two kind of memes from the video. And in this one, it's gonna have 2 words. It's gonna have a little tiny shrimp.
Okay.
Like silhouette of a shrimp with a red circle with an X, like a line, you know, like the no, and it's gonna say shrimpless scampi.
Shrimp. Oh yeah, you made that joke on the Patreon, and then you were like, you got to watch the video.
Shrimpless scampi, and I just want to make the video.
Scampi, the merch.
I just want to make, Anyway.
Yeah, that's right, because you said that, and then I said, you're telling me a shrimp fried this rice, and then we went down that rabbit hole.
Oh,
yeah.
God.
That's awesome. That is phenomenal. Well, hell yeah, dude. I'm glad it's out. I know that's always a good feeling. I'm glad sans the ridiculousness, the response has been well. You know what I mean? That's always good. It is funny to, see how the responses differ via each platform. But
yeah, I mean, that's like real quick. So here's the thing. People want content creators. This is like a quadruple standard, okay?
Yeah.
They want you to not listen to the haters.
Yeah.
While also you should value constructive criticism.
Yes.
While also you should make sure that you don't get completely out of touch, bro, with the community. And you should listen to feedback.
And you have a responsibility.
Yep. You shouldn't give attention to that's all they want is attention. How can you do all of that at once?
Exactly.
When if I put out a thing that I'm like, I'm proud of this, I'm excited, and half of the responses, granted, one platform, half of the responses are, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah.
This is a mistake. Big L, Veritas. Yeah. You need to walk this back. What is I could just, my gut reaction here, because in this case I feel confident. I'm like, they're but see, that would be interpreted by many people as
pompous.
You think you're better than them. You just ignore them. You're totally out of touch.
Yeah. It's don't feed the haters, but that person is never hating. You don't feed the haters, but listen to my opinion, because my opinion is constructive criticism. And it's like, well, when does that end? When does it begin? I can't find constructive criticism without reading the comments, which means I'm reading the haters. Where's the line between constructive criticism and hating? You know, who's like, it's yeah, exactly. It's a never ending pit. But it is interesting to see, like the difference in like Twitch chat or on YouTube or on Twitter. You know what I mean? I've stopped posting any of my videos to Twitter. I posted the big 2-hour one, but
actually, you know what? I should look and see how many of these come from like Twitter to know, or external sites. So 51%. Okay, so about a little under 2% of the views came directly from Twitter.
That's not nothing.
Of all the 280,000 impressions, 2%. I mean, that's 6,000 clicks.
Yeah. That's definitely not nothing.
Now, this was the first time, and this is the worst case scenario. This is the nightmare situation. I'm so disappointed. This is my first time using the thumbnail A/B test feature. Okay. And I want to screenshot this and send you.
I already know what you're going to say.
Oh, God.
They're all within 0.3% of each other?
Well, so I only did 2 this time because I just like couldn't. But so those are the 2 thumbnails. And I'm like, they're different kind of vibes, different styles. One's more Tarkov. One's a little bit more true crime-esque. They're both kind of simple.
Yeah.
You break the watch time down 49.8% to 50.2%. It's like, God, come on. You're telling me nothing.
Dude, I've done the YouTube thumbnail thing like 5 or 6 times now, and there's never been a time where any one thumbnail even had a 1 full percentage point lead over any of them.
And what do you conclude there? Because my conclusion is, I guess thumbnails don't fucking matter.
I don't know. Well,
they don't matter.
What's interesting though, an interesting note, an important note, is that Julian's here. What it's showing you though is not clicks. It's watch time. They're showing you how the thumbnail affects watch time, not clicks, which is fascinating. Their reasoning behind that.
That's better than clicks, in my opinion.
Yeah,
actually.
Their reasoning behind that is watch time is like the most important thing. It's the most important metric on the entire site, which is true. But I think I would like to also, in addition to that, see click-through rate. Personally. Because
if one has a really high click-through rate, but then I guess that would mean that almost means that your thumbnail's better than the content. In a way, maybe.
Yes. If you had a really high click-through rate, see, because you would just be able to, infer a lot more information from having the 2 numbers. If one had a much higher click-through rate, but the other one had a higher watch time, then you could be like, oh, okay, like people are clicking on this one at a higher rate, but then they're leaving. Maybe I can alter this thumbnail, and then you resubmit it for the test, right? Like you can do more, but just to like average all the views out to like, of all the people that clicked on this one and of all the people that clicked on this one, the watch time is roughly the same. It's telling me like that is telling me more about my video than about my thumbnail. I'm doing an A/B test to test my thumbnail. So if you're giving me like, your video has pretty good watch time, it's like, but that's not what I'm asking you. I can just go to my analytics and check the watch time. What I'm asking you is which thumbnail is getting more attention. So I want both of those things. And
I'd be willing to bet. Honestly, though, I have a feeling that the numbers would be the same.
Maybe.
So what this means is it probably means that like I bet you, my hunch is that there's like 3 kinds of thumbnails.
Yeah.
You can have a million thumbnails, but they fit into 3 categories. Just bad. And like what I mean by bad is people will like think it's an ad, or they'll like scroll by it without even noticing it.
Yeah.
Like that's just bad, okay? And then there's good.
Yeah.
Which is, it gives you an idea for the vibe, for the, you know, an impression for what the video is about. And then there's like I gotta
watch that.
About.
Yeah.
So probably what I'm seeing here is 2 that are good, which is they're like equally middle of the road.
Yeah.
And probably I could design 50 thumbnails and they would all just kind of be the same tier.
Yeah.
In equally, they're like, and see, here's the thing. What this tells me, on a scale of 1 to 10, they could both be 2s or they could both be 9s.
Yes, exactly. But here's the thing, though, is genuinely, if one was a 10 and one was a 2, I don't trust that it would accurately tell you that. And it's because the way Seal put it. If your video was really good and it was going to have a 80% watch time percent no matter what, if one thumbnail generates 1 million clicks to the video and the average watch time is 80%, and one thumbnail generates 1,000 clicks and the average watch time is 80%, it would show 50-50. Oh. But one generated 999,000 more clicks. If it all averages out to the same watch time, but one gives me 1 million more views, show me that one. But I don't know. It just says watch time's good for both of them. You know what this is?
Wait.
Do you know what this is? This A/B testing tool is? This is a clickbait filter. If your thumbnail is freaking Amaranth played Tarkov and you don't mention Amaranth at all, the watch time on that thumbnail would be abysmal. It's just a clickbait filter. But if you have 2 good thumbnails, or if you have a decent thumbnail and a rockstar thumbnail, this tool will not tell you which one's your rockstar thumbnail.
And see, I would argue that one, according to the clowns on Twitter, one is more clickbait than the other because it says a real life Tarkov killer.
Yeah.
That's the one that if you're an idiot, you would interpret that as video games cause violence, right?
Yeah.
The other one is, it's a quote of him saying, "I was playing Tarkov all day."
Yeah.
Which it makes it sound like I was at home in bed all day.
Yeah.
One's clearly an alibi, whereas one could be interpreted as and they're equal.
It's funny. I literally just convinced myself to never use that tool again because I think
I fucking hate you for that.
Yeah.
You convinced me to now like do everything I can to reach out to YouTube and like make the same argument and see what they have to say. Well, so if you hover over it, what it says is, why is watch time share used? Great thumbnails don't just get viewers to click. They also help viewers understand what the video is about so they can make informed decisions of what to watch. So that's them saying it's a clickbait filter. By selecting based on watch time share, the winning thumbnail is the one that gets viewers to both click and stay to watch. Additionally, YouTube's search and discovery system considers both when ranking videos. Choosing thumbnails based on watch time share will benefit both you and your... Okay, but wait, what does that mean? By consider both what? Stay, click and watch.
It's saying it's considering both. I don't believe it. I just like... Because once again, I just feel like that doesn't take into account if your thumbnail's really bad, the algorithm's not going to push it, and it's going to be more of your core audience clicking on the video, which the watch time is going to be higher. So it's like I think it's bad. And it's so funny because I'm so glad I didn't have it if it really is that way for my Keter video, because the Keter video is the one I told you. It's the only time in my personal YouTube history where it was a month after I posted the video, I changed the thumbnail and it was an almost vertical line. Like throop. And if I had done that thumbnail and my original thumbnail and they had roughly an average watch time percent, I might have ended up choosing the wrong one to stay. Like it has to show you click-through. So it honestly, for me, it just goes back to run one for a few days, swap it, run one for a few days, swap it. Then I can determine based on the analytics if it made a difference. Because I just can't. That's wild. Interesting. Well, speaking of Escape from Tarkov, there's a little bit of news. But before we get into that, I do want to take a second and thank the sponsor for this week's episode, and that is Babbel. Babbel is an app where you can learn another language. It is a really, really cool app. Learning another language has always been in my like top 5, just like coolest things. I've been watching a lot of Formula One, Drive to Survive. I don't know if you know.
Oh, yeah.
I know it's kind of like poo-pooed by the F1 community now, but I am always fascinated by so many of them speak so many languages. Like they all talk to each other in like German and then French and then Italian and then English and whatever. And I'm always like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Oh, dude, it's the most amazing thing when you're able to communicate with people, especially either if they are from other countries, speak other languages, and they come here, because a lot of times they probably expect people to give them a hard time speaking their native language. And then they end up, basically everybody is like bilingual in the whole world, except for Americans. So there's always just like an insane amount of adoration and respect whenever I've tried to engage with someone, even if they speak English. Engage with someone who I know speaks Spanish as like their first language. And then when I travel, go to Mexico, I learned a tiny little bit of Italian when I went on my my honeymoon. A few little bits here and there, and honestly, it made my trip so much more fun being able to say little things here and there, and they kind of laugh, but it's like it's one of those things that it's almost like reaching across a culture and saying,
for sure,
I respect you, I respect your culture, and I want and then it's just such an incredible skill that you will never ever regret.
And then that response makes you want to learn it more, makes you want to learn more because you see how positive that response is. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why Babbel is cool, because like their thing is conversational. Their lessons are about conversations. You know what I mean? I remember in school, and for a time I was trying to learn Portuguese because I was working in, anyways. And it's just like, so like you just like learn nouns and then verbs and a bunch of just like things. And it's just like, so it feels so useless at the time. And you feel like you have to climb this mountain to learn the skill. And so all these lessons, they're 10-minute lessons. They're quick. They're handcrafted by over 200 language experts. They're designed for real conversation. So you can get in, which once again gives you that positive reinforcement that once you keep talking. It's really, really cool. There's all sorts of studies from Yale, Michigan State University, and beyond to prove that Babbel is work. And one study found that for 15 hours is equivalent to up to a full semester at college. There's over 16 million Babbel subscribers, 14 award-winning language courses. It's pretty sick. And there's a special limited time deal for our listeners right now. You can get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for podcast listeners at babbel.com/pogcast. Get up to 60% off at babbel.com/pogcast, babbel.com/pogcast. Rules and restrictions may apply. Thank you so much to Babbel for sponsoring this episode.
Gracias.
Obrigado. So Escape from Tarkov. There's not a whole lot of stuff going on. We got another pre-wipe event, which was they locked the flea market, which I found to be an interesting pre-wipe event, where it's like you can get less things now. Normally it's you can get more things because the wipe is over and nobody cares. So the flea market is locked, which I found interesting, and bosses are 100%. And that's it. So
that really only hurts the people who don't hoard.
Yeah, exactly. And normally it's like the opposite vibe, where it's like everything's $1. You can have everything. You know what I mean? I don't know. The only other like noteworthy news is they announced a summer drops campaign, which they haven't done, I believe, for the past 2 years. They used to do drops all the time. They did the drops for basically both wipes. They would do a drops, and then
when was the last drops? Was it December?
Yeah, and then I think for the past 2 years they only did December drops, and they stopped doing the mid-summer, wipe drops. And then they brought that back. Now, a lot of people, of course, are like, they're bringing it back because of the, there's Delta Force's Arena Breakout. They're trying to steal the attention back. Maybe, genuinely. I don't know how long in advance you need to plan for drops or anything like that. But,
well, they're clickbaiting their marketing.
Yeah. So, drops. So here's the only, the news that came out of it, though, was they were like, drops will run from August 23rd until August 28th. This event will start after the release of patch 0.15 in Escape from Tarkov on August 20th, which will also feature a wipe. So they gave a wipe date. They've never done that ever. And this was like 2 days ago. Yeah, it was the 14th.
Wait, the 20th?
Yesterday.
That's not a Thursday.
It's not. It's a Tuesday. Yeah. So they gave a wipe date, which is not something we've seen them do before. I think it's a pretty welcomed thing. Like, most people are excited to kind of like have 5-6 days to be like, okay, it's on this day. Can I, what am I doing? Am I taking off work? Do I want to game that night? It's definitely super helpful for me. You know what I mean? Because I got the wife and the 2 kids, and it's like, when wipe happens, it's like 48 hours you're not going to see me. And so,
sorry, kid, dad's gone.
Yeah, we're all just like in a holding pattern. If that's being dramatic, by the way, don't come at me about me being a horrible father. So
I'll find you.
I have a very particular set of skills.
I have a very particular set of skills that involves analyzing a Tarkov headphone audio frequencies and making fucking graphs of it.
Yeah.
So if you don't want like a bunch of PDFs emailed to you, don't comment on it.
Don't comment. They also released a patch trailer, which once again traditionally is done like 12 hours before the patch.
That was the first time I was like, Tarkov looks cool for a moment, and was like, no, fuck that, no.
Oh, you watched the trailer? Yeah,
I watched it and was like,
yeah.
It just made me like, I'm like, I miss.
What it should be.
I miss what it should. I miss the woman you were.
Yeah. But trailer was great. Their trailers are always great. Their cinematic team is like literally top tier. But we get a look at the factory. A lot of it is set in the new redone factory, and it looks really cool because it looks very factory. It looks like all of the places that need to be like factory are like factory. But then there's a lot of just like cool shots where they're like under the grates and you see somebody walking above them, or like a new angle. So it definitely got me a little hyped for the factory rework, because it seems like they kept the love of the map, but just like made it cooler. They showed the trip mines, the impact nade on the wire. That is going to be the worst. The Uzi.
It looked like an F1. I thought it was an
There
F1.
was both. There was an F1, and then there was also an impact one. The M60 or whatever. The SR3, which I'm actually using a lot in Delta Force. It's really fun. What else? The new boss.
It looked like it starts off. Now people were like speculating.
Yeah.
People were speculating, and I don't know. My impression, if I had to like choose which side of the coin, kind of arbitrarily, it seemed to me like they were maybe teasing some kind of down state.
Yeah, in the beginning. That's what a lot of people were saying. Yeah,
it's like, was that just like, because the guy's like sitting there all like fucked up and watches, and they kind of like passes out and then wakes up. Yeah, I don't
know. I mean, a downstate definitely would be kind of cool. I thought it was more just like cinematic, but we'll see. I mean, they in the past they had talked about that. They had talked about they were working on that, and then they talked about that they were not working about it, and then they were talking about they were, and then I don't know. They showed the freaking mortar strikes towards the end, where it was like, I am excited for the wipe because I need the game to wipe, but like there's a lot. This is the most scared I've been of a wipe. We have mortar strikes, which we don't know who's going to call them in, when they're going to call them in, what the indicator is going to be that one is coming, what the indicator is going to be of where it's coming. There's no map. So it's like, imagine you finally, kill Sturman and you get his key and you just get mortar striked into oblivion. We've got trip mines, which is just going to be literally booby trapping dead bodies and running into impact nades or F1s, which once again in Tarkov is an insta kill, completely taking your agency out of the game. And then we have this new boss who's apparently the PMC Karma boss, which once again, they specifically said, we're not going to tell you anything about PMC Karma. So it's like, yeah, I'm excited for the wipe, man, but holy moly, am I also kind of nervous about the
You know
wipe.
what they say, and this is particularly applicable to you. If you French fry when you're supposed to pizza, you're going to have a bad time.
What does that mean?
Yeah. Of course, you've never saw that South Park episode.
I'm sorry.
You ever watch South Park?
I have watched South Park.
Have you ever been skiing?
No. I've been snowboarding once.
Have you seen someone ski and you kind of, so when your skis are parallel, it's like I go fast.
Yes.
When they're like this.
So
when
French
you
fry pizza.
when you're supposed to pizza, you're gonna have a bad time. That was like Cartman's.
I love how how many layers of disappointment in anything, because it's like you say the thing and it's like, of course you haven't seen that. Have you seen the show? No, of course you haven't seen the show. Have you ever been skiing? No. It's like I just
fuck me, yeah.
Veritas just goes to, are you aware of the concept of skiing?
Have you heard of snow? Do you know of the 3 different states of matter applicable to H2O? You know steam and you know liquid. Okay, fuck. How do I describe a solid to Jesse?
Oh my god. Yeah. So patch trailer, always hype. We got to see the Deagle killing Killa.
Yeah. At first I saw just Pistol pointing at his helmet. I'm like, haha, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you could kind of hear it, and it kind of sounded a little weird, and almost like the recoil seemed kind of like a little anemic. I don't know. It didn't like hit like, the like from the COD 4 Deagle is just so iconic that like if it looks anything unlike that, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But the question I have is, because this is the first drops that I'm not going to play Tarkov. I'll be sitting happy with my 27 fucking viewers playing whatever.
Yeah.
Watching everybody with like 20,000 and like, although the question I have is,
yes, last
year they made it so that you could play, that they were giving drops even if you were in the arena category.
Yep.
Do we know if they're doing that again?
So I don't think so, because there's a separate event for arena drops around wipe, like a different set of days. So they might be more intentional this time. Like technically from the Twitch side, as long as you're in the Escape from Tarkov category, you could be playing anything and getting drops. It's just they could catch you. And in the past, BSG has been like, if you're in the Escape from Tarkov category playing arena, we're not gonna come at you. So they might just have that rule again, where it's like, yeah, sure, as long as you're playing one of our games, you can be getting drops potentially. But they do have a drops event for arena.
Interesting, because there's like a world where I'm getting to the point where like I've already got a bunch of characters level 100 in Diablo. I played a bunch of Supermarket Sim.
Yeah,
there's a world where I'm like, maybe I'll fuck around with arena a little bit
for drops.
And,
yeah, right.
And especially for drops, it's kind of like a win-win. Now, of course, Twitter X users will say one thing, but I never said I wasn't going to play arena ever again.
You specifically said there's a 99.99999 chance you're never going to play Tarkov again, and a 99.98% chance you're never going to play.
97.4 or whatever.
Always said there was a greater chance of you playing arena again over Tarkov.
Yeah. I don't know. There's like a universe where I do that, and if there's drops, I might play at least for like a few days.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So,
although there's a new game that I saw that was called Crime Scene Cleaner that I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god!
I'm googling it now though, and people seem to say that it's like fantastic.
Oh my god!
And now I'm like, I've been doing true crime stuff, and plus,
cleaner.
If it's like true crime plus,
if you're watching
simulator,
if you're like researching a true crime video while playing Crime Scene Cleanup.
Yeah.
Hey, Veritas just talked himself out of playing arena. just right there, boys.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, so that is the Tarkov news. It's nice to know. Wipe's going to be Tuesday, which kind of works out perfect, where it's like by Thursday, we should be able to do the cast, talk about everything. I like knowing. Big W. I have not been playing Tarkov. I've been playing Delta Force pretty much exclusively. So yeah, so that's the Tarkov news. The other obviously big thing going on is Arena Breakout launched into early access, meaning it's free. Everybody can get access. And
free. Lol.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Lol.
Free.
Okay, so let's dive into that.
ABI puts the re in free.
Yes. Zinger. Okay, so Arena Breakout, that's what you have to talk about, I guess, is the pay to win monetization. Now, here's the deal. I was kind of completely under the impression that this was all going to happen. Like it was.
Yeah, I thought we talked about this.
Yeah,
before.
It was not a surprise to me at all, but apparently what had happened, and so chat or in the comments, correct me because I missed this. But apparently what had happened was like in an interview, I believe, because Landmark interviewed one of the lead devs one time. And I believe in that interview, something was stated along the lines of like, we don't want pay to win, or we don't want it to be too aggressively pay to win. I think as I understand it, how they kind of worded it was like they were pretty sneaky with their words so that it made it sound like they were pretty against it. But we can't say that they said they were going to sell money or whatever. I don't know. But apparently there was something that happened that gave people the impression that it wasn't going to be too aggressively pay to win. I must have just missed that when I played the game, when I was looking at the menus. A lot of people, when I was playing the game, a lot of people that were in the category, that were interested, that were watching my streams, were people that played the mobile game for years. The mobile version of this game has been out for years. Everything in the game is in the mobile version. Like a lot of people would like, a lot of the mobile guys were like, go over here, there's a safe. Like, so they were really helpful. Yeah. And they were like, the mobile version's pay to win, like you can buy all this stuff. So I was kind of just under the impression the whole time that this was going to end up this way. But I do think it caught a lot of people by surprise, which I think is additionally frustrating. Oh yeah, maybe that's how they did it. Somebody said, from what he remembers, the dev along the lines of, we don't want money to play a major factor in raids. So that's that, like, they know what we want to hear and we don't want it to be pay to win. So they phrase it that way, but that way they could get to be able to be like, well, we never said it wasn't going to be pay to win. You know, it's the mental gymnastics. But we fire up the game and it's just a big mobile game. You know what I mean?
You want to buy 800 more 800 more HP?
It's you get like a trial for an extended stash. Like you get extra stash space that expires. You can purchase. There's the store. It's 1 USD for, I think it was 200,000 Coin, which is like their rubles. So 1 USD for 200K. Their economy's different, obviously. So it's not like to scale for Tarkov, but I mean, you could spend 200K on one raid's worth of ammo if you were buying gold ammo, like, and you want a decent amount of it.
$1 for a raid.
I mean, you
Hell
could.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could.
Scav. Scav.
Yeah. Oh,
banana.
Yeah, banana.
Okay, put another quarter in and
yeah.
7 kill a mask.
The secure containers are a subscription. The first one, I think, is $3 a month for a 2x2. It's $3 a month. It's $10 a month.
That's even worse than buying it. It's a subscription. It's something you're going to forget to cancel, and you're going to be 74 fucking years old, and you're going to see $3.99 grandma container, and you're going to be like, oh, Ethel, I never canceled my fucking pay-to-win ass shit. Oh, God, that's the worst case, dude.
And then the bigger container is $10 a month. And the $10
Fuck off. Use it, please, God. Please, God. Tier 2 subscribe to JesseKazam. Do not buy that container.
And I think the $10 a month one is a 2x3. It's not even 3x3. It's not a gamma. It's a 2x3.
Eat shit.
The thing for me though was that you don't get a container for free. Or maybe you have to unlock it. I played for 3 hours the first night, and then I did an 8-hour stream on Arena Breakout. So I put 10 or 11 hours in, and I haven't unlocked a container yet. The one you can get for free by playing the game is a 1x2, and I don't know how to get it. You don't get it stock standard. You don't get it for
fanny pack
for free. Yeah, you don't even get a fanny pack stock. Maybe I think you can unlock it for free, but you can't, you don't start with it. Here's the thing, man. I find this to be fascinating because, like, it's as aggressive as it gets. It's pay to win. At the end of the day, I can't, as a human being who plays Star Citizen, I cannot judge you for what you do with your own money, right? But in this game and in this context, it kind of ruins it for me. You know what I mean? I don't like the pay to win stuff in the extraction shooter. So I'm not going to, I don't know. Now we're going to talk later about how also, in addition to how I think the pay to win stuff kind of ruins it for me, I think everything about Delta Force is better suited to what I want out of a game right now. So even if Arena Breakout was like completely not pay to win, I would be playing Delta Force. But it definitely plays a factor in it where it's like in an extraction shooter, like right now, there are people writing mean, nasty comments about how stupid my takes are on Tarkov on the video I posted about armor. And in that video, I was saying that I would like gear to be less frequent, high tier gear, because that way it means more. So I actually feel like if you listen to my take on pay to win and you think I'm just bandwagoning on the other streamers that hate pay to win, you can actually look at the proof of in Tarkov, I wrote a 20-minute essay about how gear should have value and should be rare, and that makes the game more fun. So like it all clocks, right? Like all the gears line up, where in a game where you're consistent. Yeah, you can buy the gear and anybody can have any gear. And that means if I don't feel like you earned the gear if you bought it. I don't feel like I earned the gear if you're brand new to the game. You don't even know where you're going on the map, but you bought the best stuff in T7s and I killed you. In Tarkov, I'd be killing a Timmy, right? Like a level 1, and I would get a Beretta for that because I didn't really earn it. I didn't fight that guy. But in this game, I could get a class 6 armor and T7s and a meta M4. So I don't feel like you earned it. I don't feel like I earned it. And it kind of ruins it for me, right? That's my opinion. It's consistent with how I view Tarkov right now. If you like it, play it. It's like, you know what I mean? I think it's so interesting. I definitely think gacha mechanics and literally games and companies attempting to exploit the addictive nature of video games to milk money out of people is disgusting, right? But the flip side of that is if you're an adult, I'm not going to say you can't spend your money how you want to because I don't like it, right? So if you're enjoying Arena Breakout, you freaking do your thing. Have fun. You know what I mean? My qualm is not with you as a person. My qualm is with like the industry and the nature with which we do things and how exploitative it feels. That's what my problem is with, not you, dude. I've bought Star Citizen ships and I'm ashamed. So, you know what I mean? I can't judge you. So that's it.
There's a couple different things. So we had some conversations about the pay to win stuff earlier. So I'm like a little bit up to date. It seems as if, first of all, my like wanting to throw up in my mouth about them charging $10 a month for like a secure container.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with pay to win. The phrase pay to win.
Yeah.
Or advantage is not a part of the calculus I'm doing to like hate that.
Yeah.
it's the fact that like it's something that I just fundamentally believe doesn't need to or shouldn't be like commoditized in that way.
For sure.
Now, this is my subjective personal opinion. If I was a developer, I would feel bad doing that, even though I know that 20% of the people would be mad and would stop playing and 80% would just pay it and it wouldn't matter. All it would mean is more money.
Yeah.
It just seems like shitty because they know that people will just pay for the pixels, you know, in the same way. So now the fact that it's monthly is actually what annoys me there, not the fact that you could buy it.
Yeah.
Because the argument, I would say, like being consistent, you could say the same about EOD versus, you know, whatever. But I was also one of the people, and most, I think, like the majority of the Tarkov community at the time was against the one like worth a buy video where he's talking about the MBSS being pay to win and that whole meme.
Yeah.
That, like nobody, like I won't speak for anybody else. I'll just say I don't think secure containers. I would make the argument, and again, a lot of this is subjective.
Yeah.
But I would make the argument that like having a kappa versus a gamma versus a beta versus an alpha, that there's no win there. When I think about win, and what matters is definitions.
Yes.
We got to make sure if we're arguing about the same thing. When I say win, I don't mean leave the raid with more money.
Yeah.
That's not what I think. If you could, in situation A, you survive a raid with 1 million rubles worth of stuff in your secure container. Situation B, you pay $4 and you survive the raid with 5 million rubles in your secure container. I would not say one of them won and one of them lost.
Yeah.
If you could make that transaction and in one case you die and in the other case you survive the raid and you extract, now we're having a conversation about winning.
Yeah.
To me, winning is surviving. Everything else is convenience. And I think paying for convenience, paying for cosmetics, all of those things, I don't really like. As long as they aren't, and this is again subjective, and it's all gray lines, and it's all like you'll have to give me cases. Like, you know, I can't make hard and fast rules, because I'm okay with something being $5.
Yeah,
but I'm not okay with there being 1,000 things that are $5 that, like, in order to play the game, you need to a la carte purchase all the shit all the time versus $5 a month.
Yeah. So
those are all different layers of like egregious.
Yes. So that's what's important is that like, we are getting super bogged down on not you and me, the gaming community. We're getting super bogged down on the semantics of win. People are getting like super bogged down on like pay to win. You know what I mean? And what that means. Because I've heard a lot of takes recently, which, by the way, if you disagree with me, like, that's totally fine, by the way. I'm not mad at any of the people that have these takes if you have one. But that because if I can buy the best gear in Arena Breakout for real money, because I still have the ability to die, it's not pay to win. Like, because like that to a lot of people, that's the line. Well, because I can still kill you.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if we were hypothetical.
No,
or if you were, okay.
Because I can still kill you with a grenade, because I can still mag dump you, or I can still get a good position on you, or if you don't buy an ult-in, I can still shoot you in the face. It's explicitly not pay to win because I can still kill you. And I think that's just like, because there's at that point there's no win mechanic for the game. There's no definition of win, right? Because I would say following that logic to its conclusion, that Arena Breakout is unpay to winnable. There'd be no way to make it pay to win.
Yeah.
Because you know what I mean? Because even if I bought level 9 armor, if I was AFK, you could still kill me. So it's not paid like that to me, it's just like really semantic, logic on these games are unpay to winnable. There's no way, unless you put on the store a tactical nuke that guarantees as soon as I get into a raid, I click a button, I kill everybody, I magnet all of their, you know what I mean? It's like, and that's actually, you know, Moosby put in the chat. To those people, I would say, what's a good, and maybe some people can throw some in the chat while we're doing it. Like, what's a good example of a game that's like objectively pay to win? Just like Omega pay to win. I would have thought that like Star Citizen would top that list, but like,
but there's no real, I mean, I guess competition.
But once again,
is like
it comes down to like what's winning. But like you can just like straight up pay for things like gameplay loops that other people, I mean, you can get them eventually, but it's like, but it's less pay to win than Arena Breakout is because exactly there's less PvP. It's like, it's more of the debate, Magic the Gathering. Okay, I know nothing about Magic the Gathering, so I'm sorry for that one.
I'm a Magic nerd, so I need to actually think. I've never actually thought about that, whether it's pay to win or not.
Yeah. Raid Shadow Legends. That's a good one, pretty objectively. One of the ones I was thinking was Diablo Immortal. But
that was one that was pay to win. A lot of people, I think, would probably make the argument, except I don't understand the mechanics, so I can't speak to it.
Okay, me either. So Diablo Immortal, right? Like if you paid, like, because what I thought Diablo Immortal was, you were like paying for access to the highest tier dungeons. Like I think I saw a video on Diablo Immortal where like the high tier dungeons where you get the good loot, you can only play like once every 24 hours, but you can buy with money tokens to play them unlimitedly. So you can like get the gear faster. But that like if you bought that token and went in under leveled, you could still die. And that's like one of the most quintessential pay to win games. Now I could be misunderstanding Diablo Immortal for sure, but it's, do you see like, if basically the point I'm trying to make is if we go down the semantics route of like, what is win? Let us define it for each and every game. And how much does like that? I think that's a black hole not worth entering. Because if you go all the way down that black hole and spend a bunch of unnecessary energy convincing me that Arena Breakout is not pay to win, it's such an irrelevant conversation because then I go to, okay, what would you call Arena Breakout? You call it X name. I hate X name as much as I hate pay to win. And the conversation's over, right? It's a red herring of a conversation. Because even if you spent so much energy to convince me that by the definition of pay to win, Arena Breakout is not pay to win, I would look at what it is and say, I hate that as much as I hate pay to win. And we're just back to the beginning.
So, yeah, to me, this is the important distinction that I always want to focus back on whenever we have these conversations about like whether features are good or whether bugs or whatever. It's maybe we shouldn't be arguing about like the names and the titles for everything, and maybe we should be talking about what's the actual core problem. Yeah. So if I get in a gunfight with somebody and they had a Kappa container, could I even know?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. Like, so to me, what an example of where I would say, fuck this feature that someone might call pay to win is a problem, is a situation where if I'm playing cards, I'm playing Magic, I'm playing Tarkov, if they hadn't spent the $199, the outcome would have been different in my favor. But because they spent the money, I'm having a worse time and or I lost and or whatever. I think that is like the abstraction of what is the pay to win problem.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, in Magic or like Hearthstone.
Yeah.
And it gets a little nuanced because you could start, and everybody starts with like the basic cards. It's like all of the basic classic cards. They all like, they don't have any abilities. They're super low level. Okay. And then you have, the more you play, you like, you play 10 games and you like will get a pack. You open up the pack of cards And like if there's duplicates, because you can only really have 2 copies of a card in Hearthstone, or like 4 copies of a card in Magic in your deck. So if you open up a deck and it's got like some duplicates, typically that gets converted into like dust, magic, whatever that you can then use to craft.
Gotcha.
And it's usually the equivalent of like it takes like 6 cards of dust to craft 1.
Okay.
There's like diminishing returns. So in Hearthstone, if you play enough, you cannot spend a dime and have a meta deck. It's a grind.
Yeah.
You could also drop $100, open up 100 packs, build a meta deck, and lose to someone better than you with the right deck 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
Or you could also have a deck that you could be a total noob and have a deck that's like unlosable against someone who's a pro.
Yeah.
Because you spent the money. So it's one of those things like it's situationally kind of pay to win. Like the thing is that like if the matchmaking takes into consideration the power level of your deck, then is it actually pay to win? Because you're never actually competing against people.
Yeah.
So it's complicated. So
go ahead.
Yeah, so when it comes to these shooter games, to me, it's if you spend the money to get a better bullet or better armor, and that gives you the time to kill threshold where you would have lost or would have won, then I think it starts to be a problem where it's like that guy purchased the outcome. You could argue that he didn't earn it, he purchased it. And when it negatively affects other people's experience, it's the same way that RMT and Tarkov is like the reason why RMT bad is because cheaters
facilitate this
collect all the items, and then RMT, so you're supporting the cheaters to buy accounts, and so you're supporting the cheat economy, right? When I played Diablo 2, I RMT'd a ton from like fucking Chinese bot collecting whatever, but I literally was playing effectively a single player game. Worst case scenario, what I was contributing to were the like chat, the global chat is just like spam messages that are just like buy the gold and whatever. But it's like once you get 1 or 2 of those, they're like infinitely like it's just you kind of just So to me, the whole like RMT bad, it's not the same depending on the game. So the pay to win stuff, is it a single player game? Is it a competitive game? Is it a game where there's like if you could buy with real money a hero on Valorant that had a particular set of skills. That otherwise you'd have to grind for. And maybe it's hard to quantify how powerful like a character is because it's got so many different skills and it's like, a lot of them they're so different that like it's hard to say one's better than the other. One might be meta or whatever, but like, is that then pay to win? I don't know that I would necessarily say it's pay to unless it was like a broken character. So in that case, being able to buy a character, depending on how powerful it is, would determine whether I would consider it pay to win. In which case, the definition of pay to win is it changes the outcome. It makes up for some amount of skill that ruins the experience or the outcome for somebody else.
100%. And the thing is that like you can make that argument about a lot of stuff because once again, it depends on like what your definition of winning is, because I used to be the guy that would like ruthlessly defend that like EOD wasn't pay to win, you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff back when that stuff was a thing. And I just think that I don't know, man. I just think it's like nuanced, but easy, I guess is the best way to put it. It's really not complicated. It's not hard to just be like, I don't like this aspect of a game. Being able to pay, because I think you can make a genuine real argument that like you buy the gamma container and over the course of an entire wipe, that really does put you in a financial position where at a certain place you have more money enough to buy better gear, which turn the tides in certain situations, and maybe not as many, but there are certain places where a guy may have beat you because he shot you in the head, but the Bastion slap is really strong and it tanked and he lost and you won. And it's like, it's not as repeatable, but I think you could flesh that out and make that argument. And I would have a hard time being like, you're completely wrong there. You know what I mean? It's just, there's a spectrum.
But that comes down to a definition.
Well, it comes down
definitional thing.
It comes down to a definitional thing, and it also comes down to like a spectrum. Like a big thing for me is,
well, the spectrum is the definition. The spectrum is the quantification in my.
Okay.
Well, okay.
In addition to that, there is a spectrum of like repeatability of transaction.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Right. So it's like my thought on paying
once
for
per raid versus once per wipe.
My thought on paying for containers had changed. I actually kind of think it is a little bit more pay to win. It is kind of pay for advantage, but I bought the big secure container in gray zone because you buy it once and like not like, so to me, and if you're not you, but like if anyone in the chat has a different opinion, that's fine. You're welcome to it. But like like even if I agree, even if I say that the Gamma container is pay to win or EOD is pay to win or Unheard is pay to win, I think most reasonable people would say on the scale, on the spectrum of pay to win, that's less pay to win than a limitless casino of buying currency in a game where the flea market restricts nothing. So you can like best ammo, best. So even if I say buying the Gamma container is pay to win, even if I'm there for that, it's like buying gear is more pay to win than, and maybe more is not even the right word. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's at a different place on the scale. But yeah, it's like, call it what you want to call it. Like, I think once again, it goes down to the semantics of the name. Pay for advantage is a great name for it. If I can pay money for an advantage over a player, I dislike that exactly as much as pay to win. You know what I mean? That's the easy sweeping statement. It's like, if you want to argue with me on what's pay to win, like that's totally fine. It's an interesting thing.
Here's the deal. People want to simplify everything. They want to come up with hard and fast rules. They want no nuance, right? Which is the reason why this is so important, because people want to say pay to win bad.
Yeah.
You can't play or support or develop or whatever. Pay to win. They want to have a law, a rule that is, I stand against this. I will not support this.
Yeah.
But in reality, you have this, pay to win is, for a lot of people, a bunch of different definitions.
Yeah.
And each one of those definitions has its own spectrum.
Yeah.
And then each game can be interpreted with different definitions in different parts of the spectrum.
Yeah.
So what we end up with is, there's a pay to win that's acceptable, and there's a pay to win that's not acceptable. So when you say pay to win, you mean nothing.
Exactly.
You've communicated
nothing.
Nothing.
Most of the people that are mad about X Games pay to win have EOD. You know what I mean? Like, especially in the Tarkov community. So it's and the thing is that like, I at no point have a problem talking with somebody about the nuance of like where pay to win lies. Like, that's a fun conversation. What's not a fun conversation is the like hard and fast, like, well, I can just kill him, so it's not pay to win. You know what I mean? It's like that to me is a less fun, because once again, it's like, I mean, I don't go down that rabbit hole. What I end up just skipping it by just like saying what I said, where it's like, okay, I hate pay for money as much as I hate pay to win. Boom. There we go. Now now I win. I guess that's my trump card, because that's not, they don't want to have a real conversation, but I just find it so interesting because I find it interesting because a lot of the people are saying that's fine. Let them pay for the gear and then I'll kill them and take their gear. But like, are you that happy when you die to a level 4 that has like, you go on a budget run, you've got a shotgun, and you run into the level 3 with a level 6 armor and an Alton and a Juiced M4 and a Voodoo and M995, and you know that guy bought it? It's like, in that moment, are you like, it's totally fine because I'll get them next time? You know what I mean? Aren't you a little frustrated at that point? Like, I don't know.
Then if you think about that pay to win feature exists, and if it didn't exist, then they would never fix the netcode versus fix the netcode a year from now. Would you take that? Would you lose 20% of your fights so that they could fix it? Now, I don't think that that's actually going to happen in any of these games or whatever, but you could make the argument. Now, listen, I'm going to go and I'm going to say it's either the thing that will make 80% of the chatters, the commenters want to cancel me, or 80% of them say how based I am. I don't know, and I kind of don't care. When I see two, and this is like, I'm not necessarily talking about you person listening right now. If you think that this doesn't apply to you, maybe I'm not talking about you.
Yeah.
I might be talking about like those guys making a scene on the bus over there. Like I might be talking about them.
Yeah.
When I hear people have the conversation that seems to dominate this, which is half of the people are like, on moral grounds, I have a problem with the exploitation of the player base. Okay. On the other hand, you have, we're adults. It's about personal responsibility.
Yeah.
You should be able to do whatever. And they're having these discussions. And I want to say, neither of you care about either of those things.
Yeah.
You are virtue signaling that it's exploitative, but you are saying that because you have the benefit of not wanting to play the game and you're not interested. Those people over there, they just want to play the game. It looks cool. They're excited. So they're just going to use whatever bullshit justification that it's like, well, no, I'm all for personal responsibility. It's the same thing like with politics, how the liberals and the conservatives, they all say, I believe in this thing, and they only apply it to the things that they want to apply it to, and they don't apply it to everything.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like, that's what I want to get rid of. That's all I want to get rid of, is like the feeling that I need to like run super far one way or the other, when the seed of that is either that game looks fun or I don't want to play that game. Like we express such visceral emotion and such strong opinions when the seed is like, that game's not fun. Like I've been playing Delta Force. So I played Delta Force a lot of weekend. Arena Breakout came out. I played the night Arena Breakout came out, and the next day, all I played was Arena Breakout. Next day, back on Delta Force. And now it's been 2 days, 2 full days on Delta Force. The amount of people that are like, why aren't you playing Arena Breakout? Is it the pay to win? Why aren't you playing? Is it the pay to win? And it's like,
everything's got to be a moral stand.
I don't want to play that game. The pay to win aspect of it is a part of that, but I just don't like. All I want is if you want to play Arena Breakout, to just play it, and if you don't, to just not. Like, that's all I want in life. You know what I mean? Because that's all I'm doing. Is it's like whatever their monetization, whatever you would call their monetization, I'm not a fan, and so all I'm gonna do is not play it as a result of that. And if you are a fan, or if maybe you're not a fan, so like a great example is like, I was hanging out in Trey 24K's channel, and he was like, I hate the monetization, but I love this game, so I'm just not going to spend any money. Cool beans. Do you want to know how much in that moment I wanted to leap from my chair and smash my head in my keyboard and telling him about pay to win? 0%. I did not care that was his thought. I just do not want to play it. You know what I mean? It's like, so what you just said just hits the nail right on the head. And I just like want people to know that I want people to know you can just dislike a game and you can just like it.
And you don't need
it can be that simple, yeah.
You don't need to morally grandstand to try to get the other side canceled or shamed or whatever. Now, so I say all of those things, and then I also say, kind of throw it all in the trash, because there needs to be, like, if a game just suddenly starts doing incredibly unethical shit, and it's like ruining people's lives and damaging whatever, there needs to be like market social pressure to make it known that's not okay. Like some egregious example I'm just making up, right? It might be a case where the right thing to do might be a boycott.
Yeah.
You know, or again, but so that's not to say that like that it's impossible to actually have like ethical, moral stances on some of these things that can actually be real problems. What I was mostly pointing out is the people making those arguments, 98% of the time, it's all pageantry. It's all peacocking. It's all like I'm like a Second Amendment guy, but I'm not like a hardcore whatever, right? Most of the time when I hear people say from my cold dead hands, I believe in the literalist interpretation of the Second Amendment. Yeah. What it really comes down to is your guns are cool toys and you don't want someone to come and take your toys.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the people that say from my cold dead hands, that's them kind of basically saying like the Constitution is everything, blah, 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 blah. But then like other things they don't care about, they can completely contradict themselves and be like, yeah, but you know, fuck this amendment because it doesn't matter. It's like it's
100. That's such a great way to put it. It's like
justifying wanting to keep their toys and they don't want someone to fucking take them from them.
Yeah, it's like everything we just said is don't have strong ethical or moral opinions on things. It's don't manufacture those things don't have fake ones when you don't need to.
Like
if your thing you're super passionate about is like gaming monetization, how it's become much more exploitative, different games like EA, Raid Shadow Legends, you know, maybe this, and then how Tencent has had their hands in those things. And it's like you're super passionate about that and you're like in that. I love that. But don't make all of that history up in this moment because you don't like a game and now you feel like you have to be the arbiter against pay to win, and then vice versa, right? Like if you like Arena Breakout, don't feel like you have to manufacture opinion about how it's not pay to win an advantage and this, that, and the other. It's like if you're passionate about those things, be passionate about those things. Don't make up passion about those things. Once again, when the seed of it is just I like this game or I don't like this game. Right. You know, so that's at the end of the day, I've been watching Hutch and Landmark and Trey play Arena Breakout and genuinely enjoying like watching them play. But it's just not for me. So once again, I guess we'll just put a pin in the pay to win stuff because that's that, man. It's like just do your thing. Whatever you call, viewer, Arena Breakout's monetization, if you call it pay to win, if you call it pay for advantage, if you call it pay for juice box, I don't like it. And that's a part of it. But there's more to it. So it's funny because like I was actually kind of excited to hop back into Arena Breakout and kind of just like I watched some stuff. I watched some mobile players play some of the maps. That one of the new maps that was coming, Armory, and all day pretty much on Tuesday we played Armory, which is the new map, which is like super close quarters, like almost like factory, 3 levels. It was a pretty cool map and it was fun. But yeah, I don't know. I just in almost every single way prefer Delta Force personally. I just found myself being like it was almost too close to Tarkov. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, and I don't mean that once again, we're exiting the pay to win conversation, right? So it's like, this is all fresh and different, but I never would have thought on paper, if you put the cycle, Marauders, Arena Breakout Infinite, DMZ, Gray Zone, or everything, if I put, and then Delta Force, if you put all those on paper, I would have put Delta Force as the game I would have expected to like the least. And then I played Delta Force for a week and I played Arena Breakout and I just found myself being like, if I want something hardcore, I just would rather play Tarkov than this. Yeah. And I kind of don't want Like, it was actually so funny because coming from the hardcore milsim, Tarkov, in Arena Breakout, I died and I didn't go down, as in like, the down but not out state where you can get res. I died in Arena Breakout and I just died immediately and I went, oh, like it was weird. I would have told you, 3 weeks ago, I would have told you that a down but not out state in an extract shooter would be stupid. And I already missed it. Like, you know what I mean? So, but that's not the only reason why. The other things are like, so I found the economy to be much better in Delta Force. And these are just personal opinion. Once again, if you like Arena Break, I'm not trying to yuck your yum. I find the economy in Delta Force to be a lot better, as in there's like more loot. Like I was running around in Arena Breakout a lot, like going into rooms, and there was just like no lootable containers in there. And I was like, oh, like, and I would go to the next room and there was nothing, and I'd go to the next room. Whereas there's like loot everywhere in Delta Force. The loot rarity, it just feels like I could come out with a lot more stuff and make more money. I was finding like purples in Arena Breakout that were worth like $800 or whatever. And I was like, oh, I really think one of the strongest parts of Delta Force over Arena Breakout is the dynamics of the map I was talking about, where it's like you have all these quests and all these things to do on the map that like change and shape your map. There's all sorts of bosses and missions and the Mandel brick and all this kind of stuff. I found myself missing like the hero abilities and that kind of stuff. I like the fact that in Delta Force there's like a hideout and there's progression. Like I can increase my max stamina or my load. There's just more. My load. There's just more. I don't know. My load. I just personally found that in pretty much every scenario, I preferred how Delta Force has interpreted the extraction shooter gameplay loop. So once again, even if you completely remove the pay to win aspect of it, I don't know. I'm just kind of big Delta Force energy right now.
Yeah, and it seems like that's the common kind of theme.
Yeah.
From what I'm seeing from folks on Twitter. I don't know. I'm assuming that like, and this is like not, this is one of those things that like people will interpret one way, but you and I and some content creators and a lot of average normal folks will see one way. But were any of the Arena Breakout, like were there drops or were there sponsored streams or whatever?
They did drops. The drops this time were for loot, because like the last time the drops were for keys to the game because it was a closed beta. But right now it's just like gear tickets and like you redeem it and you get a random piece of loot. I don't know if there were sponsored streams. Contrary to what a lot of people in my chat thought, I was not doing any sponsored streams.
But was it during drops?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, we had drops. I had drops.
Yeah, so it's like the decision to play a game on stream, it comes with what's going to happen with my viewership, what's going to happen with my enjoyment, what's going to happen with my money, what's going to happen with future opportunities with a developer, all of those things get put together. Everyone else in the world gets to say, what do I want to play today?
Yeah.
Streamers have to say, what do I want to play that's best for my business and my mental health and the future and relationships and blah, 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 blah. Which is why sometimes it's I play the game I want to play, the game I want to play, the game I want to play, the second game I want to play, the second game I want to play, the game I want to play, the game I want to play, the third game I want to play, the game I want to play, the game I want to play. And you see groups of streamers kind of, why is everybody playing ABI today? Yeah, it's because it drops. Are you gonna poo-poo it with like it's one day? Are you upset that I get to play a game that maybe whatever it is, whether it's Tarkov or whether it's ABI or whether that for a day I'm gonna play a different game and I'm gonna make like $1,000. Are you really gonna be upset with me over it?
I mean,
this doesn't have to be a big dramatic thing. Like, let me get the bag.
I agree with you what you said, but even in this situation, I didn't know that Arena Breakout was doing a drops campaign until chat was telling me the loot they were getting from drops watching me. I was like,
interesting.
I was like, what?
So why were you playing it initially?
Because it was launch day and I wanted to check it out. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah.
So they launched on the 13th, but it was like the 13th at midnight UTC, which is like 9 p.m. our time. So I played it a little bit on Monday just because it literally just came out. But then at like midnight, I was like, okay, I'm tired. And I genuinely wanted to play it. I enjoyed the beta. The beta, there was no monetization, but I enjoyed the beta, but I got bored. I felt like I was just constantly going broke, and there were only 2 maps, and I got bored. And so I was like, I'm kind of done. All excited. So when this came out, they added another map, they added a new boss, and there were a bunch of like optimizations and features. Like they made the movement feel much better now than it did before. It's more responsive. So there was like a bunch of fixes, and I was like, oh, it's launch day. I was like, yo, let's check it out. So I genuinely wanted to play it, but just at the end of the 10 hours I played it, I didn't want to play it anymore. And so it was literally just that. It was like, I'm super excited to check it out on launch. Me and Hambino played the new map all day long. Me and Ham and Vel. It was like Armory, and it was sick, and it was like nonstop PvP. And by the end of it, I was like, I'm done. Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? And we played during the pay to win. Once again, like I didn't buy anything, but we ran into people that were low level that had like super high juice. Like I wasn't on a moral stance, not, playing it that day. And I wasn't on a moral stance the next day when I wasn't playing it. It was launch day. I wanted to check it out. I did. Then I was like, why do I have 1,300 viewers? Oh my God, drops happened. Sick. So then I played it until 4 p.m., which is when I normally hop off, and I hopped off. And the next day I DM'd like Geeks or Ham, and I was like, yo, you want to play some freaking Delta Force? And it was that, you know what I mean? And once again, that was Tuesday. So Tuesday night, when I was done with my day, I popped on Trey, watched him play. Last night, I played Delta Force all day. I popped on Landmark, and I was watching him play Arena Breakout. Like, once again, it's like, it's fun to watch those guys perform at a high level in that game. It's got a really different vibe than Delta Force. It's a much more like Tarkov, grim, colorless vibe. And it's like, if you want to, like, sick, dude, hell yeah. But I just don't find myself wanting to play it, personally.
Yeah, I mean, to summarize all of this stuff, I just recently rewatched Bo Burnham's Inside.
so good.
And what he said sums it up perfectly, which is, can any one person, any one individual person, shut the fuck up?
Yeah, dude.
What can any singular person just shut the fuck up about literally anything?
Yeah.
For like an hour.
Banger.
Just shut the fuck up. Why is the meta on the internet? I have to be angry about everything and let you know about it. Spoiler alert. No one cares what you think about anything. So shut the fuck up.
Except
no
us.
No one cares.
You care what we think because we have a podcast and we're cool.
Well, we have an audience.
No,
We're
I'm just
relevant.
kidding.
Who are you? You're not relevant. No one cares. Shut the fuck up.
No, I understand what you're saying, but
but like just the whole thing about like, and actually, I'm literally hearing all the different fucking song lyrics in the head. The "Can anyone hold me accountable?"
Oh, yeah,
like everyone just has to fucking hold everybody accountable at all times to some fake standard they don't fucking care about.
Yeah.
Because it's their job and they have nothing better to do with their lives.
Yeah.
Just like when I watch a YouTube video and I'm like offended by it, or I see a YouTube comment and I'm offended by it, when it's on my content, sometimes it's relevant, sometimes it's noteworthy. That's kind of different because it's like on my lawn,
you
know?
Yeah.
It's my body, my lawn. Like that's a different thing, right? Yeah. If I see someone say some dumb shit or they do a thing that's like unethical or whatever, and I'm like, I click on the comment box and I see the little line blinking and I think, nobody fucking cares what I think. And I hit the back button and I continue with my day. Because nobody fucking cares what I think.
Yeah.
And more people care what I think than care what insert random person think, and nobody cares really ultimately.
I know.
So just shut the fuck
but
up.
That's what's been so hard for me is that like I'm in my nobody cares what I think. I don't even care what I think era. Like I'm in my era of truly just being like, yeah, like I don't need to have I don't need to have a hard opinion about anything. But what's thrown me for a loop is not having an opinion is a vacuum, and vacuums can't exist. And so people input their opinion as my opinion and then get mad when they feel like I have betrayed their opinion of what my opinion was. Like a great example is like there is a small subset of like gray zone warfare players that are like really genuinely butthurt that I hated the game, exploited it for content, and then quit. Like I am super excited for that game. Like we don't even have to get into that, but it's just so funny because I was like, oh, I've never said any of those things. Like I loved that game. I played it for a few weeks. I'm excited for more content. I went back to Tarkov, but it was like I didn't make a video about like this is how its futures. I didn't put a really hard opinion out there about exactly what my thoughts were. So it was just a vacuum for them to fill with like, yeah, I can't believe you hate this game now or whatever, and I bet you'll be back just to exploit. And I'm always like taken aback by that because I'm like, oh damn, like that's what's weird. So yeah, I agree. Nobody cares what I think either. And
yeah,
so
like the right response, I think, like in a perfect world, the right response to someone who's playing a terrible, unethical game or who says some terrible shit or whatever is that it's crickets. Nobody shows up anymore. Nobody watches their shit anymore. Nobody responds.
Yeah.
That would be like a better world instead of you can say anything from the most batshit crazy thing to the most righteous, fantastic thing.
Yeah.
And 20% of the comments are, L-take, you're a piece of shit. You're doing this for viewers. You're doing this for whatever. You're doing this, blah, blah, blah. I looked at your history. You're racist, blah, blah. It's just like...
Yeah. It gets wild. So, yeah, I don't know. What's also interesting is the only other like relevant thing is that also genuinely, I'm not trying to. I mean, you ever just like run through all the thoughts in your head in a blink of an eye and then laugh at the joke, but you realize none of those things came out of your mouth, so you're laughing by yourself.
Every fucking minute of every day
just happened. So I know that this is going to be seen as like the Glaze cast glazing up freaking Delta Force. And once again, I don't know how to express how little I care. If you like Arena Breakout more than Delta Force, that's fine. This is my podcast.
You're required to say, because the FTC regulations or whatever, you have to say how much they're paying you to say this before.
This is my podcast and I'm talking about the games I want to talk about. I think a big part of it as well was like, I liked Arena Breakout. I enjoyed playing Arena Breakout even less this week than I did during the beta. And some part of that was the pay to win aspect of it. But I also think some part of it was I played a better game, right? Like when it was just Tarkov or Arena Breakout, I was so desperate for not Tarkov that I was like, yeah, I can see the appeal of Arena Breakout. But 5 days before that, in my opinion, like the best alternative extraction shooter came out. And I played it for 5 days straight. So then I played Arena Breakout and I was like, this has really cool aspects and really cool things that even Delta Force then copied. But I was just, in my opinion, I'm like, dude, Delta Force is just better in every single way for me. So it just made me want to play that game more. So that tainted my opinion of it too, because I was just like, damn, this other game is sick.
Yeah, but if for any reason you play another game, then your opinion must have been a lie, or must have been disingenuous, or must have been fabricated, or must have been fake, or must have been bought. And if you're then not playing the game forever, the same thing.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah.
Because it's my job as a person on the internet for which everyone cares about what I have to say, and they don't wish I would just shut the fuck up. If I don't tell you, where you're, doing wrong, then, bad things will happen and you'll make the world a fucking worse place.
Yeah. The only other
noteworthy thing, and I hate to circle back to the pay to win conversation, but it's an interesting thing, was Delta Force in their subreddit. Somebody literally asked in their subreddit, will you have paying for in-game currency? Arena Breakout said they would not do pay to win, but now they are. And one of the devs came into their subreddit and said, I can promise that this will absolutely not happen. This is a clear standard that we wanted to set for our game. And then they had a bunch of stuff. First and foremost, our large-scale Havoc Warfare mode has no pay-to-win elements. We also promise that Technic alloy and equipment in Hazard Ops, which is the extraction mode, will never be sold. They must be earned through gameplay, participating in events, or trading with other players in the auction house. We will not sell these items directly, unlike other games. And then the official Delta Force Twitter account, tweeted a picture of that Reddit thread and also tweeted, we will never sell in-game currency. There will be no pay-to-win elements. You'll be able to get all the secure containers in the game for free, and the game will be free to play. Now, it's important to know.
Go ahead.
I do not believe them. Okay? It's important to note that. But I do think it's noteworthy because Arena Breakout tried to kind of finagle it. Like earlier, we said they were like, we don't want money to play a big part in our game. That's different. So what I'm saying is it's news and noteworthy that these devs created an extremely hard line in the sand. We will never sell gear. We will never sell money. At this point with developers, it's I'll believe it when I see it situation, but that is a much bigger grave they dug for themselves if they go back on that. Basically that's the news I wanted to bring forth. The tweet, the Reddit thread, I'll believe it when I see it, but it is interesting.
You mean you'll believe it when you don't see it, which means if it doesn't happen, you'll never think about it ever again?
I mean, a normal person, for me, it'll just be, we'll be nonstop talking about it. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, there was a joke in there somewhere that I was going to make, but the time has passed about how it was weird that like their Twitter account tweeted out Nikita's quote from like 5 years ago. I thought that was really weird, but because he literally said, I promise there will blah, blah, blah. He literally, I mean,
exactly.
So yeah, it's just like,
exactly. And even in there were some suspicious words like get the highest secure container for free. That doesn't say you won't be able to buy the highest secure container. It says you'll be able to get it for free.
Just like Hearthstone, you can get everything for free. It just takes 500 years.
Exactly. In the Reddit thread, they were like, it said something, training with other players in the auction house. We will not sell these items directly. Well, what's the definition of selling something indirectly?
They will sell it indirectly by like RMTing it to other. They'll give it away to other companies they'll trade it for currency.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they'll sell it.
Exactly. So once again, I am bracing myself. Like, I am really enjoying Delta Force, and I really think the game has a future, and I think if they keep making good decisions, like, it could be a super fun game to, like, bounce back and forth between Tarkov. And what's cool is that, like, it's getting me excited about content creation again. Like, I want to make map guides, and I want to make loot guides, and me and Hambino spent 10 minutes in the firing range today. Dude, bro. So I'll actually come back to that. I'm loving the game, but I am bracing myself for impact. You know what I mean? The game drops and it is full of all this kind of stuff and it really turns me off. So I'm definitely bracing myself for that. But I do think it's noteworthy that they said that. And of course, I hope that they stick to it and come through. Now, last thing, dude, me and Hambino spent like 10 minutes today in the firing range. Bro, just imagine having this in like Tarkov, bro. I literally pulled 3 different dummies. Because I told you about the firing range, you can pull the dummies forward, backward, whatever. I pulled 3 to 0 meters away. On one, I put blue helmet and armor. On the one in the middle, I put purple helmet and armor. And on the one on the right, I put gold helmet and armor. And then I had a gun, I had an HK, and I was cycling through the different levels of ammunition, going to each of them, just counting how many shots to kill, all that kind of stuff. And once again, in the top left, there's a damage calculator that tells you how much damage you've done to the armor and how much damage you've done to the flesh. And so I was just like, okay, so with purple ammo against gold armor, it's 1, 2, 3. Oh, the fourth shot is when I first start doing damage to the flesh. I do 10 damage per shot. It's just all right there, dude. And it's so sick. It's so dope.
So what I want to know is, because that's like so much information that like you could really kind of reverse engineer, extrapolate, like the underlying how it works. How much RNG is there?
None. Like, it was consistent every time.
Man, it's almost like that's
better.
Better.
Like, I definitely haven't tested enough to definitively say that there's no RNG, but like I spent 10 minutes shooting these 3 dummies and every time it was the same.
Yeah, and so think about like in a gunfight, in an engagement, right? If you're shooting a moving target, there's already inherent RNG in the recoil plus the player movement plus the armor durability, because it's not always full health person, full health armor. So you might come across like 48% of the time you'll come across somebody at 89% health with a 50% tier 4 armor, and you're using a gun that has this recoil with a bullet that has this. So there's already inherently so much fucking RNG without them calling rand paren at any point in their code.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Infinite RNG without ever having to invoke a random number generator.
Gameplay is RNG. The gameplay is RNG. Because you know what's cool? I actually, once again, this feature would be on the list of things I would have said was too casual, too arcadey, it's stupid, I won't like it, and I love it. But you can buy and bring armor repair kits into Raid and repair your armors while you're in Raid. And so that, and I say that to say that RNG goes crazy, because I could have bought this armor, then run into AI. The AI busts up my armor. I repair it. Then I run into players and they go, man, I just had a brand new purple armor. How do you kill me? But it wasn't brand new because I repaired it, and that took some of the durability down. So it's like, I fully agree with you. There's enough RNG just in the gameplay loop naturally that we don't also need the freaking cosine tangent angle of how it hit my armpit and does that equal a one tap. Like, you know what I mean? Keeping the consistency there is fine, because the fights are still dynamic and they're still fun. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's cool. So we shall see. But once again, I'm definitely bracing myself that, like, you can tell it's a free to play game. There's, the menus are set up a lot the same. Like, you can tell that there's definitely going to be some monetization. Obviously, I hope that they keep it to like season passes and cosmetics and charms and weapons, and there's tons of stuff like that, weapon skins. But I'm definitely bracing for impact that they also do some unsavory things. But yeah. So that's the stuff that is be the things for this week. Thank you guys for hanging. I know that this is going to be the tamest comment section in our podcast history. It's going to be a beautiful thing. But thank you guys so much for hanging. If you would like even more podcast content, you can go to patreon.com/thepogcastpod, and you can subscribe there. You can get early ad-free access to these episodes, and you can even get additional 1 hour long episodes that we record every week just for those lovely people over there. Thank you again to Babbel for sponsoring this episode. Thank you guys for being here and being a part of the community, and we will definitely see y'all on the next one.
Don't pay to win.
Don't do it.
Pay to lose.